Welcome to the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. Welcome to Hungary. Welcome to the second half of the season. Welcome to round 8. Welcome to Frantic on top. A 22.652 is their lap time here. It's an interesting one. They are going to be going again to try and improve. Frantic Racing yesterday showing some brilliant performance, now competing today in the F1.5 EU tier, looking to try and take victory here. They are a reserve driver, not a higher tier driver, so they can get this one done for good, on track, regardless of where Sir Maxon finishes, who was absolutely mega yesterday. They are reserving today as a higher tier driver. They do score a different point system, but they are still on track. Jericho, a 14.914 setting, the time immediately beaten by our serial pole sitter Verve, who currently has the record 8 in a row, 7 this season. Absolutely incredible, and 9 in their career. Insane stuff. Even if it's not the F1 tier, in F1.5 that is still a very, very difficult thing to do, and they've got the job done. Incredibly impressive. Well done to Verve for that one. So a 14.0 is the current time. We see Frantic immediately into the pit lane as they will back off. Sir Maxon is on that invalid lap time. Of course, we'll see Breda School cross the line soon, and we'll hopefully see Terence join in a few moments' time as well. Unfortunately, Barrel will not join us in a last-minute change in the end. Looking at the pole position last time around this season, or last season, this time around at Hungary, there you go, a 13.894. We're almost already at that previous time. Yesterday, Sir Maxon did a 13.266, with the other cars behind him doing 13.6s. So there's a lot of space in these laps to try and get something done. Frantic, of course, was in that grid, and so was Verve, so they definitely have some experience. Jericho Willis is trying to continue on their good championship form, scoring 38 points over their rival Verve. Now, Terence is P2 in the championship due to Verve only scoring, that would have been 8 points in the, 8 points in the last 2 race events, and that 8 points is just from the sprint race. That's British Cool, a 15.354, as Frantic will come out alongside them on track to go again here in qualifying. Just doing a few calculations in the background now as we wait for Frantic to start their lap. As we can see, 31 points. Jericho has an advantage over Terence in the championship, and then there's a 4-point difference between Terence and Verve in the championship between P2 and 3. So currently Jericho has a lot going their way, having a brilliant start, a little bit of a difficult time in the middle, and in the last couple of races they've had those 2 victories in Saudi and in the main race in Silverstone. They got a bit lucky with it being a sprint race event at Silverstone, as in the sprint race they did have a big mistake in the opening corners. They were able to learn their lesson quickly before the bigger points were awarded later on. That is unfortunately a validation there for Frantic. They're going to have to go again in this session. 10 minutes on the clock, plenty of time. We were pretty on time for qualifying, considering how we usually go here, setting up everything else in the background beforehand. This time we are all good to go, and we get the grids to you immediately. Now, we don't have too many people on the grid at the moment, but I can tell you we can still have a good race. I will always tell you that because we have had some absolutely incredible racing in the past, despite having smaller grids. Just currently, with the time and the state of the game, it combines to create a really lull moment in the game cycle. It always does. We just have to wait it out. It will get better. Do not worry. We'll keep on pushing and we'll work hard. We'll hopefully get Terrence in the lobby to make it 6 drivers. And we will see a yellow flag for Samaxon as they prepare their next lap. But we're going to have Frantic, who's riding on the entry curb into 2, on the exit of 3, and then through 3, and up to 4. They'll hope that the Sauber gets out the way as soon as possible. Through turn 5. Verth is in a little bit of a distracting spot. I think they've just about got away with it. They'll be lucky to have got away with that one. And then on the exit, taking a bit of avoiding action off the curves, Frantic, not going so aggressive over them. Now into the S section with a bit of battery to use towards the end, and down this straight they will be doing so. And then into the final complex of corners, braking as hard as you can as the car drops away a little bit. You can really send it over that inside and cut it nicely without too much trouble, other than track limits that you may encounter. The final corner, wait for the throttle, power down, let it bleed in, and DRS across the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be a P2 and a .059. No driver has made it into the 13 mark yet, but they are close together, the top 2. That's a brilliant effort for them. We've got Brothers Call, who has just completed another lap, and then they will, I assume, make it to the pit lane with 4 laps on these tyres at the moment. Currently leading the team's championship alongside Jericho Willis by 105 points. I just needed to double check that that's correct. By 105 points, they are leading over Haas. Absolutely awesome stuff that they've got here going on. And, I mean, Brothers Call has still got a fair few points to their name, and they could do something in this championship if things go right. But definitely, this is a brilliant, brilliant team's championship play that they've got going on right now. And they could make it work quite easily. Looking at Samaxon, although they are, of course, higher tier driver, they still have raced a few times so far this season, and they do have a few wins to their name. We were going to watch on with Verth, but Verth is actually invalidated, and they're going to end up going again. We will still watch on with the pole master in the EU tier. Home Grand Prix for the Hungarian hero, turn 1. A bit of a wrestling moment on entry, 4th gear, going to lose out on a bit of power, but still on the battery to get the revs back up into 2, try and wrestle it in, try and flick the car in. I think they're experimenting with the concepts of driving that you can use in this game. It's fair enough, it's fair game, and it seems to have been working so far this season. Can it work here in Hungary? Trying to dance the car through turn 5 in 5th gear into the chicane, riding the second chicane very, very hard, riding turn 7, that would have been, into the S's. Now they go, pulling it left, pulling it right. Oh, and just once again wrestling the car, this time a little bit too far over the limit and over the line. They will have to wait for another time to go again. It's going to be Jericho Willis, currently P3, and into turn 1 to try and push and catch up to their rival. Jericho comes through the final few corners, and on the exit, Gear 4 getting the revs in, DRS across the line, and the McLaren driver will stay where they are, a 0.531, 5 tenths behind. Now, something to note for Jericho today is that they are on brand new equipment. You're going to have to give them a little bit of leeway for that one, and they're going to be happy that they have the championship advantage that they have with this new equipment. Ultimately, this wheel will be allowing them to go faster than ever before as they go from a Logitech to a Fanatec wheel. As they go from the gear-driven wheel to the direct drive. That's what the difference is. That's what's going to gain them that extra performance. And if they can get used to it, they can perform very, very well. Currently, not looking too bad at all, considering they're on brand new equipment, and it's only, I think, their second week or something of actually having it. So it's looking good for Jericho, and they just need to try and nurse themselves into this session. Terence joins us in these final moments, and we'll get to see what they can do. It's Frantic who we will watch set the final lap of the session, their final run, I should say, not the final lap of the session, as they do have a car in front of them. Verf needs to move out the way sooner rather than later, a little bit late and a bit of an awkward position to do so. Frantic's not going to be happy with that one. That's the second time that they've had the Sauber in front of them. Still fairly clear track ahead, and they can still improve as they go purple in the first sector. That is fastest overall, as they do have the car in front of them being the pole sitter. They go through the S's, through the right hand turn, and they're just trying to keep it clean now. Make sure you don't go over the track limits on the exit of 11, and you hope that the car ahead gets out the way, and they do so. Frantic's going to be very happy with that one. The final two corners coming up. Avoid the entry curve. Try not to spin the car. And on the exit of the final corner, dart it to the line. Fourth gear on the power. Go, 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 go. What can Frantic do? Across the line. And it's going to be provisional pole ahead of Verf. Frantic with a 0.606. Absolutely incredible stuff right there. Will we see Verf get there? Will we see Verf compete? We've got Brothers Cool coming around the final few corners. I say that into the first few corners to try and go again next, and then Terence it will be, and then we're going to see Verf, also Verf, then Terence, then Jericho Willis. We will go through that order as we see now. These guys will have a bit of a faster track to go around on, so they do have a slight advantage there, but still a 4/10 advantage over the rest of the field. That is a brilliant effort there for Frantic, and I cannot wait to see what they can do in the race here. Brothers Cool through the S's, trying to find a little bit more. Wants to get into the 14s. Maybe would they try and get into the 13s? I don't quite know. Half a second improvement. They're well into the 14-second margin. How much can they find in this final sector? How can they keep it on track, or is it going to be a bit of a struggle? Big bit of understeer in the penultimate corner. The final corner comes up. They send it on entry, on the exit, getting the power down across the line for the McLaren driver, and it's going to be a 0.7. A very good effort to try and catch to their teammate, but not enough. It will be the pole master who will not get there, and their record will be over. I do not believe it. Terence crosses the line. They will not improve position-wise. It's Jericho Willis in P3 who crosses to take 2/10 out of the car in front, but not enough to get the position. Verf loses out on their streak. The record is over. 8 poles in a row. It will be no more, as Frantic has taken it away by 0.4 of a second. Verf messing up in the final moments. Verf P2, Jericho in P3. This is the first time since the first race that we haven't had a Jericho, Willis and Verf front row lockout. That is pretty impressive. For this season, that stat is absolutely crazy. We'll see you in a bit for the race. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn 1? Verf on the inside line. Nefo got away well from there yesterday. Will Frantic be able to hold it? No! The McLaren is in the middle, and they might be in the lead. Jericho Willis trying to do everything they can. Verf had a go. It didn't work out, and Frantic will somehow still stay in front. Absolutely phenomenal stuff off the start. Brothers Cool, however, is not having the best of starts. Not quite getting there on the line. Terence was trying to have a go on Verf, but with a little bit of a squabble up in front, it wasn't quite so simple to get through, and they just had to let things go. We're already going to be looking at the tyre situation. As we can explain, Brothers Cool's tyres are a lot colder than a few of the cars in front of him, although Verf has gone for that hard tyre strategy. We saw Heischler and Devon Young do that yesterday. It wasn't so beneficial unless you could get through the field quickly, and now with less cars on the grid, that may be the better strategy. The safer strategy, however, is the one that you can see Frantic, Jericho and Terence on at the moment. Let's see how this one works out for them. The pole sitter gets away. I would say, well, they managed to get the job done, but that's just about it. Verf is still a big threat in this race. They have the slower tyre at the moment, and they're in the train. We've got Samaxon, who's trying to hold on to the back of Terence for just to push them through, and then they'll be making a move at some point when they can safely do so. Not that Terence won't be able to keep him behind for the time being, but Samaxon's just incredibly quick. As we saw yesterday, they proved a point for sure. 0.8 of a second Frantic now has to Jericho Willis. They're trying to check out before DRS kicks in. That is what you have to do around a circuit like this. You have the opportunity to do it. You have to utilize it. Can they get the job done, or will Jericho hold on in these final few corners of this lap? I should say this final half a lap to get that DRS range, and currently they're doing enough to do that. Verf is hoping that maybe that DRS doesn't kick in, because then when their tyres do start to work nicely on about lap 4-5-ish, then they can start to put the pressure on Jericho and make a clean overtake and then catch straight up to Frantic. Oh, Frantic's had a phenomenal penultimate corner. They might have just missed out in the final corner. Did they get there? No! Frantic's in the wall! I do not believe it! It's a full safety car deployed at the final corner. DRS was available. Frantic was pushing to try and escape DRS. It hasn't happened. They will overtake the safety car. Jericho will lead the Grand Prix for the first time. Absolutely astonishing. I did not expect that at all. You saw them light up the rears, and then they just weren't saving it. It was a one-way trip to the barrier, and unfortunately, it's the one-way trip to retirement from the Hungarian Grand Prix. Jericho Willis now has a decision to make. Do they stay out, or do they go into the pit lane? Verf doesn't have much of a choice, neither does Samaxon or Bread is cool. It's all about Terence and Jericho making this choice to either go to the end or stay out. I know what I would do. I would stay out, because to go to the end, other cars will pit and fresher tyres would just be so much better. Whoa, will be so much better around a high downforce circuit. You'll gain all that time back. Frantic did everything they could, they say, to try and save the car, letting the wheel slip out of their hands. That's a frustrating one, Frantic, and I am sorry to see that happen. We are going to see the medium tyre runners of Jericho and Terence go in to the pit lane. We're also going to see Brothers Cool go into the pit lane off of this hard tyre onto a double medium strategy, interestingly. So maybe that can work, but it won't be easy. I still do think that it would have been the better strategy to stay out on that medium and then just go on to that hard tyre a little bit later. But I don't know. I'm not driving the car. It's a lot easier for me to make the decision from here. Now, to go to the end of the Grand Prix on a set of hards, it will be very, very difficult. I don't feel it will be impossible, but as I said, having fresh tyres on a high downforce circuit is so beneficial. Now, what we saw yesterday was Heischler on a fresh set of medium tyres, and it didn't work out towards the final few laps as their tyres just kind of died off and they evened out to match those hards. Well, the thing is, Verf and Samaxon, they're going to be going on to those mediums later on, and yes, their tyres will get to a difficult state later on, but Jericho and Terence's tyres will also be at such a worse state compared to what they would have expected the other hard tyres to be on, that maybe their pace won't be a problem and they'll be quicker. That was a mouthful. It made sense in my head. I hope it made sense to you guys. I know what I was saying. It just took a while to get that one out. Anyway, it just means that Jericho and Terence have a lot to think about here and a lot going on. We're going to see Brothers Cool go immediately back into the pit lane again, momentarily taking the lead of the Grand Prix. And then on to the hards they'll go again, I assume, to try and make it all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. Actually, a front wing change, so maybe that wasn't intended, and they just had to try and get a front wing change. So they will be able to go to the end of the Grand Prix on this hard tyre if they want to. Whether they'll get a puncture towards the final few laps, I don't quite know. It's very early on in the Grand Prix to get that. Now, I would have to look at a replay to see if this was going to be the case, but I think Jericho managed to get DRS on Frantic. I believe so, but we didn't quite get to see it, and as I said, it might be on the stream. We might have just got a glimpse of it before the safety car came out, but I can't quite confirm whether that would have been the case or not. The safety car will be in this lap, and we will be going racing once again. Verf comes to the final corner. Sir Maxim will be the one to react. When will the Sauber go for it? The safety car's in the pit lane. They can go at any point right now, and they've already gone for it. A lovely, lovely, lovely restart. Oh, and not a good one from the F1 Championship leader, Jericho Willis. Would they try and challenge into turn one? I don't think it's going to be the case, but we are going to see a battle between Terence and Bredis Call, who's trying to have a go around the outside, now to the inside. It's not going to happen, and the Haas driver will stay in front of the McLaren as they have a look to the inside line, but nothing more of it will come about. It is a difficult restart from Sir Maxon, but they are 5/10 within still. They managed to hold on, but it almost looked as if they were going to repeat exactly what Frantic did just a few laps before. Alrighty, sorry for the delay there. But Verf now leads the way, and Sir Maxon has got to just try and put the pressure on. They won here last season. They took pole here last season. Can they get that win once again? DRS is not available, but they're nice and close, and they're going to be using the battery to try and get an early move into the first corner. It will come about, and it will be theirs to take. Verf is not really going to be struggling with that at all. They didn't get slowed down by any side-by-side battling. And that does mean that now Jericho Willis is 9/8 behind. And they've got a bit of work to do. They've got a bit of pressure to really put on themselves to try and hold on to DRS range. Because at the moment, that's not going to happen. And at the moment, Sir Maxon is going to pull Verf along with him. And that will be their situation done and dusted before the day is even begun. Terence, P4 at the moment. Bredis Call sits right behind them. They don't have DRS to the car ahead. Bredis Call gets a time penalty in the meantime, and unfortunately may have just lost that DRS range. Jericho Willis has managed to hold on. Bredis Call doesn't get there, so there will be a split with Terence and Bred. Bred has to try and find their way into a rhythm and get this back, otherwise they could be in trouble. So Maxon pulls along the top three drivers, and Jericho is just holding on by the skin of their teeth, by a string. but not quite more than that. We will take a quick moment away as these guys follow along in a train, and we will be back in a few moments. Hello everyone, we're back. Sorry for the delay. We finally got the audio going again. Is Verf 2.2 seconds back on Sir Max, and Sir Max in the meantime has got a 3-second time penalty around Hungary, and it's Brothers Core, of course, with that time penalty that we saw earlier on. But it's 2.4 seconds splitting Sir Maxon and Verf, but it's now no gap at all between Verf and Jericho Willis. The two rivals will be close together on DRS. Once again, talking about DRS, and I don't know if this man will be able to answer this question, but trying to break away from the DRS from Jericho Willis earlier on in the race before the unfortunate incident, did Jericho get DRS on you, or were you too busy focusing on what was in front of you?
No, sir, he did. He got into the DRS zone. I was pushing the car way too much. I tried my best. He gained on me in the second last corner. I made this tiny oversteer mistake, which cost me like half a tenth, which allowed him to get in the DRS zone. It's unfortunate. I wasn't paying attention at all. I made a dumb mistake. I will continue pushing forward. It will only happen to me once, something like this. So I think I will be a better person after this race.
Would you say the frantic fans pushed you a bit too far into the corner in the round?
Well, yeah, well, I mean, Frantic Gang has always been very supportive to me, but they do make me kind of nervous. I always have to feel I need to perform, you know? Because if I don't, they will be upset, which I don't want. So I always feel like I need to perform and be at my best, which didn't work out. But I mean, you know, I still appreciate them. I hope they appreciate me. So, I mean, yeah, I think we're only growing. The group will, I think we're almost reaching like 50k subs on the YouTube channel, which is awesome.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I cannot wait for what the future has to offer.
Yeah, the Frantic Gang are definitely supporting you. I should say we are definitely supporting you, the Frantic Gang. Very,
wow.
Very good following you've got there, and I hope it goes better for you next time. Now, Frantic, with the strategies that you've ended up putting everyone on after the situation that wasn't really your fault. Well, anyway, so it's a difficult one to look at. we're going to get the top 2 on a different tyre at some point in this race. Do you think 8-lap old tyres are going to be able to get to the end of the Grand Prix? You did a race yesterday, and I assume you found out the tyres are pretty difficult to manage.
Yeah, what I noticed is that at the end of the race, the tires were overheating quite much. Like, it was very hard to control the heat of the tires. I'm not sure if that was me pushing too much or not really understanding how to drive this type of car, but I think 8 laps old, it's a bit early. I think it's doable, but the tire wear will be very high at the end. So, as we see Terrence make a big mistake going over the curb. Yeah, like, these tiny mistakes will at the end cost you, a few percentage of tire wear. So you don't want to make those tiny mistakes. I think it's doable. I think it is.
It's going to be an interesting one, and I think Terrence is definitely going to give it a good shot with their tyres. They've definitely focused a lot over the seasons with their tyre wear, so they're going to be keeping a close eye on that one. Jericho Willis, currently 9-lap old tyres as Terrence reaches, but they're going for the move on the inside line. Verf is going to be contested for the first time in a while. DRS is available for Jericho to secure that position ahead of the Sauber car. The Sauber not really able to do much about it. They've got the older hard tyres. They're just trying to hold on for as long as they can to the back of the McLaren so they can really bring it back later. It is their best interest to fight that McLaren till there's no tomorrow. They have to do it, otherwise it's not really going to give them the best chances of catching back. What's it going to be, 20 or maybe like 18 seconds pit lane? Is it maybe even a little bit more around here in Hungary? That's a difficult task for sure, but they just got to try and focus and get themselves in the best position possible when it does come to the pit stop window. That being said, 4/10, 5/10, it's only escaping, and I think you need about half a second to be able to actually go for a move. That's if you're going to blast the entire battery. So if you're outside half a second behind another car going down this straight, you're not going to have a chance. And I don't think it's going to happen for Verf. They will just have to wait behind unless they got a really good exit and used all of this battery. But no, Jericho is not going to let that one happen. I say that, maybe it is going to happen under braking. Will Verf go for the send? They will not go for the send. They are not too crazy. They will back off and let it go. Lap 14 out of 35. We aren't quite to the halfway mark of the Grand Prix just yet. Jericho Willis and Terrence have still got a long way to go in this race.
Yeah, Verf is an amazing driver, isn't he? Like, he's very clean. He's keeping it on the road. Like, he's really going for it. Jericho as well. He's a very talented driver. I think, Simon, he's just way too far ahead. It's between these guys now. At the end, it won't matter, of course, since Simon is a higher tier driver. But it's looking good so far. It's going to be a fun battle to the end. So yeah, excited.
Indeed, indeed. And Terrence is going to be trying to come back later on. 3.6 seconds at the moment to the cars in front, but they will be nursing that car all the way to the end. We've got Breda's Cool, who is on an interesting strategy. They have gone off of their tyre and then back onto the same tyre again. So they've actually just got basically the oldest tyre that you can get, but they've still made their pit stop. So it's a very strange one. They've unfortunately got themselves another time penalty, and in the meantime they have lost out further. We're going to get Verf and Jericho Willis switching positions once again as Verf does make that move, and they just have to try and stay in front for as long as they can, and if Jericho goes for the overtake again, then they have to re-overtake again. Frantic, I don't know what the pit lane or the pit stop window was yesterday. Do you know what it was? When will we expect Verf to go into the pit lane here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was driving with Peanuts yesterday. We were going for the undercut strategy. We were starting on the mediums and then went to the hards. We tried to undercut the front guys. I think we went in, I think it was lap 11 or lap 12. But since these guys are already on the hards and mediums, I think, man, I don't know, I think lap 20 or something.
Okay, so we've still got bit longer to go on these tyres until we do get that pit stop and everything will change up. This is going to be a long Grand Prix. It's going to be a lot of anticipation to the end. It's going to be a lot of watching the tyres, seeing if they puncture or if the timing data just changes drastically. I think that's what we're going to be looking for later on. We're going to be looking for Jericho trying to take this a very long way, unless they try and go on the same pit stop window as Verf. They could do that. They have a backup plan at the moment. Terence also has that backup plan, but I kind of feel like they're going to try and do something a little bit risky, as they did try to do so in Silverstone last time around in round 7. It didn't quite work out due to a safety car later on in the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, that saw Verf be disqualified from the race as they tried to overtake the safety car, score no points in the end of that one, as yeah, Terence was pretty frustrated with that one. In the end, it took their chances of victory away, although it was still going to be a difficult fight either way. Terence is going to try and find another way through if they can on the strategy, but as I said, and I'll say it again, Jericho Willis and Verf do have a bit of a difficult situation on their hands. I just want to check, I had to blink like 8 times then. Sir Maxon's in P3.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I think Maxon made a mistake at the chicane in Sector 2. I didn't see it as well. I was looking at Terence, and now Maxon is in front of him. I think he made a mistake in Sector 2 somewhere.
Interesting. Okay, so Maxon maybe a little bit too complacent up in front, has found themselves around, maybe not around, but unfortunately making a mistake. And they are pretty loose on the rear end, so that's maybe an inkling of what just happened. They're now P3. They do have Terence right behind them. Terence will have got a bit of DRS there down the main straight. Now they've got to try and bring that gap back up, and they've got that time penalty. So they've got a little bit of work to do on lap 17 out of 35. Can they do it? I would bet they can. But it's not easy. It's going to be difficult, and they are on a difficult strategy as well. They still have to make a pit stop in this Grand Prix, so does Verf. Jericho has the option to not. It's just whether he thinks that a 18 to 20 second pit stop gap will be enough to bring it all the way home, or if those fresher tyres will have the pace, and could they just go for a normal strategy. I think they're going to have to do the normal strategy, you know. I don't think it's worth it. Frantic, if you were in Jericho's position, what would you be doing? As it looks like Jericho's going to go for the move.
Right. Well, let's watch the move first. He goes to the inside. Wow, that's perfect. I think Verf will try go around the outside. There's not enough traction for him. Yeah, he needs to concede this position. Yeah, I think if I were to be in Jericho's position right now, I'm not sure if my tire wear yesterday was just higher than the others. I think he can manage the tires because he's just a very, well, how do you say this? He's a very capable guy. I think he's capable of making it to the end. He's very, very quick, and he knows how to drive this car instead of, I don't know how to drive those cars. I'm not too sure. I've been grinding too much Le Mans Ultimate, man. I'm not too sure.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, we'll see. It's really 50-50 at the moment. We can't be too sure until we see Verf go into the pit lane. Then we have to count 2 or 3 laps and see what then Jericho does. If Jericho pits within those couple of laps, then they will be following a normal strategy. If they don't pit within those couple of laps, then they'll be going all the way to the end. That's another time penalty, unfortunately, for Brothers Call. They are still last, and they will not be affected by that time penalty. They would still be scoring 12 points to their name, with Sir Maxon, of course, being a higher tier driver and scoring very good points for the McLaren team. That would extend their championship gap, which would be absolutely awesome. Currently sitting at 105 points, and they would make that many, many more. Verf trying to score their first points since the sprint race in Silverstone, score their first points in a Grand Prix since, I need to check, was that Saudi Arabia for Verf? No, it wasn't Saudi Arabia. It was Australia. So that was a long time ago, and that was their last victory as well. if you take away the sprint race victory in Silverstone. So that's really trying to get on top of their struggles so far this season. They're also trying to get on top of some tyre wear issues that they maybe have just encountered right now, as they've got 7/10 to Jericho Willis at the moment, and they've got Sir Max on right on their gearbox looking to go for a move very soon.
Simon is really pushing out there. He's managing to... Well, I think he's going for the move on the straight. He has a lot of ERS compared to Verve. Jericho is also a bit loose going through that corner. No, I think it's a bit too far. I forget what I said. Yeah, I think Simonson, he has the biggest chance of winning. He's just very fast. But the time penalty is gonna be a killer for him. I don't know. I don't know how to check. How many seconds does he have?
He currently has 3 seconds only. So 9
seconds,
seconds
okay.
to play this call.
9 seconds. Okay. Okay, so it sounds doable. It sounds doable for Simonson. He's, I think, well, he's very new to the LSI League, but he has proven that he's the future champion in the 0.1 tier. He's just a prodigy. He's just built different. He's like that. He's just that guy. So yeah, I think we're gonna see some Simonson magic here.
I think we may do. I do wonder if there's maybe some glazing going on there to try and make it look even better, because you lost to this guy last season in F1.5.
No, that's not true. I think this guy genuinely might be the prodigy.
Now you look like an absolute legend. Look, everyone that is watching Frantic is an absolute legend, so don't take anything away from Frantic. They've done a phenomenal job in their career, and they had some very good pace yesterday. We're going to see some good pace from Verve going into the first corner on the exit. They're going to get the job done. Jericho's not really going to have a question about it. It's going to be Sir Maxon who goes off the track and into the grass there for a moment. I don't know what was going on there. I thought they wanted to try and go for the move. I think maybe they were trying to go for the move, and then there was a bit of a miscommunication and avoiding action. Luckily, Sir Maxon stays out of the wall and doesn't put it in the barrier, but that's a close call that they were hoping to not encounter on lap 21 out of 35. Surely we're going to see a pit stop at some point soon. I don't quite know, but yeah, Verve leads the way once again, and they're going to be waiting for that pit window. Are they going to try something a little bit risky? Are they going to try and go for a much later stop to try and bait Jericho out to staying out a little bit longer? That would give them maybe a chance of getting that position ahead of them later on, but it does also mean that they have less laps to try and catch back up later as well. So I'm really got confused at what's going on here, but Verve will know probably a lot more than we do currently now, as they have the data on their MFDs and we don't.
Yeah, I wish we were able to see the tire wear. I'm very curious to see how much tire wear Verve has. I think he's I think Jericho's out of ERS, or he's saving. Well, he's very low on the ERS, I must say. He's very low. They both are. Simonson is almost full. Yeah, he's getting a bit impatient, I think. He wants to get around these guys. He wants to extend and the lead and create a bit of a gap. But I'm not sure how much tire wear they have right now. 20 laps. That will be like 3% tire wear a lap. Something like that for us?
I'm not entirely sure. That's a safety car. Okay, well that changes absolutely everything. Brendan's call retiring on the pit lane entry. I do hate to wonder what that may have been. So that's an interesting one, but we'll look at that after the race. It does mean that the safety car will be called out and the drivers will be going in. It will be mediums to the end of the Grand Prix. No questions asked, I don't think. I think we'll be pretty straightforward on the strategy there. Terrence is going to be a little bit disappointed with that one, probably saving their tyres all the way up until now, and then it's just completely gone to waste. But it is going to be Verve leading the way and into the pit lane to get that fresh medium tyre rubber. I can't really do maths, so I'm trying to figure out how many laps they'd have by the end of the Grand Prix. It would be enough on a medium.
I don't do math either.
I'll let you talk about something, whatever you want to talk about, and well, not whatever, about the race, and I will calculate this. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, what's up, guys? What's up, Frantic Gang? I know you're watching Frantic Gang. This is gonna be exciting. OMG, I cannot wait. Like, these guys are very quick. I love the fact that they're all close together now, because there was a bit of a gap with Terrence as well. I sure hope Terrence can win this season. I'm not sure if he has won this season. He is second in the championship. Yes? Okay.
Yeah, back in Monza in the wet. So they have been a bit of a wet weather specialist, almost taking victory in Silverstone as well in the wet conditions until they dried up later.
Well, has there been many wet races this season?
Just trying to think. I think it is only Monza and Silverstone out of the 7, so not too many wet races.
No, and they were all exciting to watch.
They were definitely. All of them were exciting to watch. And now we've got another exciting last few laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix, with Verf leading the way. They're going to have about 13 lap-old tyres. I may be 1 or 2 out on that one. I think I'm just 1 out. But I hope I got that right. 13 lap-old tyres by the time they get to the end. Of course, a couple of those laps will be under the safety car, so it's going to be a little bit better than we'll see. The tyres will be absolutely fine to get to the end of the stint, but they will be very slippy. That's what we saw yesterday. As we got to the later stages of the stint, the medium tyres were incredibly volatile and you could really lose the car quite badly, quite aggressively. And that's what they're going to be looking for in this race later into this stint, and hoping that it doesn't cause them any problems, and hoping that it doesn't cause them to extend track limits and get themselves a time penalty. That's what we'll be looking for. If you get a bit of a oversteering moment and your rear end ends up going over track limits and you have to correct, then you can go off track and you can get yourself a time penalty around this circuit. So that is one of their biggest problems, rather than staying ahead, because staying ahead is probably a lot easier in that regard, especially if the cars around you have bad tyres. They can't really outperform you in the braking zones if they're also struggling. How that will go, I don't quite know, but it is only a time penalty to Sir Maxon, 3 seconds to their name. Everyone's on equal tyres and everyone will have equal ERS as well. We'll be going all the way to the end, just absolutely rapid. I say that, not quite so much, because these tyres are still going to be difficult to manage. It's still between Verf and Jericho for the championship, of course. Terrence is trying to hold on to that P2, who's... well, he's very much in the championship as well. He's not that far away. If I try and remember, it's 31 points. Not close, but not far away, as they are still obviously in that top 3. Verf's trying to get back to that P2 position and make some ground on Jericho, being very, very quick throughout the entire season. Despite Frantic, I will say, losing out on their qualifying pole streak. They had, that would have been, sorry, no, not would have been, it was 8 poles in a row, 9 in their career, 7 this season, and it's all over. There's no more 8 poles in a row, there's no 9 poles in a row today. The Frantic Gang have worked together to take him down and destroy the dominance to try and make sure fans were not bored. And they are not bored at all. We've got a couple more laps to go here in Hungary. It's once again Verf to go for the restart. It is Jericho Willis to react. The safety car has got 1 more corner to go, and we will go racing once again. The green car's waiting for the green flag. There is the safety car in the pit lane. When will he go? When will Jericho react? As he's gone for it a bit earlier than before, and that is Jericho struggling to react, as we saw from P2 earlier on. A brilliant, brilliant restart right there from the Sauber driver. Sir Maxon is not going to be in a position to make a move just yet.
Well, that's a great restart from Verf. It's a big gap he already created. I think Simonson, he was very quick, but he was, I think, mid-corner when they went, so that's been unlucky for him. Terrence, I think he made a little throttle input mistake. I'm not too sure. I think he lost the back end of his car, so that's the reason why there's such a big gap already. Ooh, and that's Simonson twitching around a bit mid-corner. Yeah, he's a bit aggressive right now. He's getting impatient, as I said earlier. I think he can do it, but it will be a tough task to accomplish.
Yeah, they definitely have to try and make their way through within the next couple of laps, otherwise it is going to be game over. And with Verf all of a sudden escaping, that's just going to make it even harder. They want to try and hold on to DRS range for when it gets kicked in later on. But no, Sir Maxon's going to have to try and nail this final corner. So I think what we established there was it was just a really good restart from Verf rather than a bad restart from anyone else. It's now lap 2, no restart involved, just racing speed, and Sir Maxon will have the run on the car in front, and they will get the move done before the corners even arrived. They can take the racing line and they can try and make the attack on the Sauber happen much sooner. Verf doesn't need to worry about too much, of course, according to Sir Maxon's situation, because not only has Sir Maxon got a 3-second, but they're also a higher tier driver. Verf has got to worry about Jericho Willis and hope that Jericho isn't brought along in the DRS train, although that's going to be easier said than done. Another big snappy moment there for Sir Maxon, who was on a very aggressive strategy. Setup, I should say, as Frantic pointed out earlier, absolutely brutal right now, still very quick regardless. Now Jericho is going to be brought into this DRS range once again, and unfortunately it does mean that Verf is going to be at risk at losing out for their home Grand Prix victory for the second season in a row, but they definitely have the stronger position by being in front at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't even know Verf was Hungarian. That's cool. I'm rooting for him now. So let's see what happens. I think it's going to be an easy move for Simaxon since he will get the DRS. I don't think Verf is going to defend that much. No, he's letting him go. He knows that he needs to keep Jericho behind and that Simaxon is not his main target for today. So yeah, Terrence is falling behind a bit. So I think he will just finish the race in P4. But yeah, Jericho, I think he will gain a little bit since Verf will get a bit of dirty air created by Simaxon. So yeah, we still have a fight on our hands.
We do indeed, and we saw it earlier on be quite difficult for Jericho to catch back up, and the DRS was a little bit on the edge, but they managed to find it later on, and it worked out really nicely. Verf is just trying to hold on to get that DRS to maybe have a go at taking victory, not on track, but on time penalties as well. But no, 1 second has already been brought. Sir Maxon is just too quick at the moment. They've put their throttle pedal down a little bit harder, and it's definitely worked, that is for sure. Just to clarify, what I mean by that is that they had their pedal binded to only 98% since December. So that's quite frustrating for everybody, because then you realise that the other car actually has a bit more performance to utilise, and that's what you can see right now, how he's breaking away. Verf currently loses that. It allows Jericho to immediately catch up. As we were talking about earlier on, it could catch up, or it could be reduced, and he's immediately done it. Lap 28 out of 35. We've not got too long in this Grand Prix to go, and it is going to be a brawl once again. Will Verf get a second P2 at the home Grand Prix, or will they finally come out on top?
Yeah, Verf is saving a bit of ERS. I think yeah, Jericho has been pushing quite a lot to get where he is now. Jericho is really riding that last curve of the chicane. I don't think that's quicker. I know I didn't ride that curve since I was scared of losing the car, which I did anyways. So let's not talk about that. But I think, yeah, it might be a bit bad for his tire wear. I'm not too sure how that works in this game. If the curves decrease your tire wear more than
yes,
just regular tarmac, it does. Okay,
a little bit, not much.
A little bit, okay. But that's gonna hurt his tires a bit, and as we see Verf twitching a little bit. Yeah, he will try and get closer. He's not really pushing. I think he just needs to save a bit of ERS for Jericho. Yeah.
Yep, he does indeed. It's going to be a tough one. I just wanted to have a look at the stats from last season. We had Sir Maxon take victory, we had Verf in P2, we had Jericho Willis in P3, and we had Terrence in P4. So we're currently in exactly the same position right now. If everything goes as it is, we'll just get a repeat of last season. Of course, Jericho's going to try and change that one. Last time around, they ended up finishing, it was just under 4 seconds away from Verf. This time it's a lot closer, and they are on equal tyres, so nothing is between them except from just pure determination. And they're going to try and make the order a little bit different from last season. Otherwise, we're just going to be basically copy and pasting the standings results from last time, which is quite ironic. This time, instead of Samaxon being in Red Bull, he would be the higher tier driver, and it would still be Verf taking that P1 for the EU drivers, just not quite overall. DRS, ERS, will Jericho go for the move into turn 1 this lap? They will not. They will not try and get track advantage. Now, Frantic, around this circuit, if you were in Jericho's position, do you want to try and get ahead before the final few laps to try and have the track position over your rival and stay in front? Do you have the confidence to do that? Or would you rather get the DRS for the last lap?
I remember, I think it was Austria, I waited for the second last lap to overtake. I think that's more of a safer option, because I would be scared to lose the car when I'm in front, or the guy behind me will pass me on the straight with DRS. I think that's one of the main risks, being in front. But
even around Hungary?
I mean, honestly, I'm not that experienced in this game, but I think even in Hungary, if you can stick close behind the guy in front of you, I think it's possible to overtake in the second last lap.
Fair enough. So we talked to the expert then, and Frantic is suggesting that Jericho sits behind Verf. So whatever Jericho does, it could be all on you here. That's a difficult one. Frantic,
Are you mocking me?
Don't get it wrong. Don't get it. No, not at all. Not at all. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. Jericho has got a lot of pressure anyway, regardless of whether they're listening to the live stream or not. They are going to possibly be looking to make that move sooner rather than later. They're just getting closer and closer each lap now. Frantic, honestly, I think you are probably right in what you're saying. Despite it being Hungary, it's going to be better to stay behind if you're Jericho Willis and get the move done into the first corner. So I'm not mocking you at all. It's the right call, in my opinion. And your opinion, obviously, as well. So it's going to work out. The two pundits, the two experts, they know what they're talking about. Samaxon knows what he's talking about, as he's extended that gap now by a second more than he needs to, and is currently very much so the leader of the Grand Prix to try and take it in first place. Once again, Verf for the EU drivers is trying to get that first place, as they've missed out a few times in the recent races. They're just trying to break that curse. They've only got a couple more laps to try and break the curse, at least, of finishing races. It's just whether they can get to that top spot or not. Multiple race wins for Jericho this season. That makes it 4 for them. It's only, well, I say only, it's 2 victories for Verf on the other side. So trying to catch up to Jericho's win streak or win tally this season so far is Verf. Trying to hold it and extend their championship lead is Jericho Willis. This would be a 4-point difference. Whoever finishes ahead, as 20 points are awarded for the win and 16 points awarded for second place.
Alright, I think Verf, at the moment, he is trying to save a bit of ERS in Sector 2, so he can use it on the straight. I don't think he needs to use it on the straight, since Jericho will stay behind regardless. So I think, what he needs to do is just, or he needs to fake making a mistake, like going off at the chicane and sticking behind Jericho. I think that might be a cool move to see. But, you know, I think the only thing Verf can do right now is just save till the end and then just push on the second last lap. It's the only thing he can do right now.
They've just got to turn the battery off and go really slow all the way to the end, and see if Jericho goes for the move.
Force Jericho to make a mistake. Or like what I would do right now is just going really, really wide, allowing Jericho to go through. That's what I would have done. But I'm not there at the moment, so I would have done it.
But it's
but I'm
Yeah, it's up to Verf, and I don't know if he's going to do that. I think he's going to just try and stay ahead.
He's doing it!
Big mistake.
No,
well, it might be. It might be tactical. You can see Jericho is very, very close. It would have been a very nice way to hide it. I do know that these guys have a lot of respect for each other and they don't want to play any DRS games. Back in Austria, we saw that happen and they could have tried to play games with each other, but they didn't. They just stayed where they were. Now you can see that Verve has turned off the battery in a few corners in the rest of the lap to try and save all the battery that they can do, and they probably don't need to save much more at all. But we're on lap 33, about to get to lap 34. We are getting to the moments where it does really count. We are getting to a time where maybe Jericho's thinking, you know what, I'm running out of laps, I know I'm close behind, but I kind of want to just get in front and see what my chances are by staying in front. Maybe it could work out for Jericho if they do that. You're going to have a little bit of doubt, but ultimately you have to trust your gut and go for the instinct. And what's it going to be for Jericho? Will they put that battery on? They do put the battery on now, but they turn it off immediately. They will not be going for that move again. We will have to wait for next lap as Jericho will blast the entire battery, but Verf, I'm sure, is going to be prepared. They're going to try and push to the limit to make sure that they keep that McLaren behind. Verf still is pushing a little bit on the battery to keep the McLaren behind. That being said, despite only DRS being used in the later stages, that is a big snap there for Jericho as the tyres wear out.
Yep, Terence went to the pits to get the fastest lap point, so that's cool to see. Let's hope he will get the point at the end. I'm kind of shaking and trembling. Like I'm hoping for Verve to win. Actually, like I love Jericho. He's a good lad, but at the end of the day, it's Hungary, and Verve apparently is Hungarian. So I'm kind of hoping for him to win.
Indeed, I think a lot of us are. No offense to Jericho Willis, but Jericho. They have had their fair share of wins so far this season. Whoever wins that, that being said though, I will be very happy for. Samaxon is about to cross the line in first place for the final time before they get to the checkered flag. It's all about Verf, who leads the way as they go round the final corner, but it's going to be Jericho Willis with DRS getting the car rotated very nicely. ERS is being used to the maximum. Will they go left? Will they go right? Central goes to Sauber. It's to the inside line for Jericho Willis. They try and open up the steering to push the Sauber wide. They will do it. It's going to be a drag race into turn 2. The inside line is available for the Sauber. They'll try and go as wide or deep as they can. It's not going to happen. As contact, they go down the order. Jericho doesn't need to worry about that. That was not their fault. Verf has fought to the last moment. They've tried to be the hero. It's not worked out once again. It's 4 seconds. It was a brilliant effort though, Frantic.
Yeah, that's such a shame. Like and there he goes again. Yeah, he's overheating the tires now. He's very desperate to get going again, but it's just not working anymore. That's such a shame. It was a good battle though, but he just outbraked himself a bit, and yeah, he collected Jericho in the process.
It's one of them things, but at least they tried their absolute hardest. They can be proud of that. Samaxon goes around the final corner and they will take victory in Hungary, both in F1 and F1.5. And then we will get Jericho Willis crossing the line to take victory for the F1.5 EU drivers. Absolutely incredible stuff there in the end. Verf. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. They're going to have to reverse it, I think, up to the line unless they get the car spun round. They do get the car spun round. Such a difficult time right there. They're going to be frustrated, but we will get Terence in P4 to get that fastest lap, I'm sure, across the line. Just hold on. I think they got it. We'll have to double check that one in a second. That was a long old race, an emotional one for some at the end. It's Jericho Willis on top once again. Brilliant stuff indeed from everyone. Alrighty, we will get the results on the screen. There is the top step. Samaxon takes it. Jericho in P2, then Verf in P3. We've got Terence in P4. We got a DNF from Brother School and Frantic earlier on in the Grand Prix. And Terence will get the fastest lap for the EU drivers in the end. That extra point will be theirs. We're going to get the race director on your screen, the instance section and the pit stop section. And we will be back for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Hungarian Grand Prix. That was a very, very dramatic one in the final lap of the Grand Prix. We start with Frantic. Frantic, a brilliant, brilliant qualifying, a brilliant start, still maintaining the lead into the first corner. Unfortunately, a little bit later on when DRS was enabled, it didn't go quite to plan for you. What happened there?
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention at all. I went over the curb and lost the car. I tried to catch my steering wheel and tried to save the car, but the steering wheel slipped out of my hands, unfortunately. Like the same yesterday, my hands get very sweaty since I'm just very nervous. And I'm trying to wipe the sweat off, like every straight or corner. I'm just wiping it off on my pants. They're all sweaty now. But it's a dumb mistake. So yeah. Nothing more to say.
Something to learn from, I guess. It's an unfortunate one, but it happens within racing, and as long as you know what you've done, you can make progress on it for next time, whether you're there in Qatar or not. Do you like that circuit?
Yeah, I like Qatar. It's very fast, very flowy. So I like it. I'm hoping to be there next week. Is it next week or is it in 2 weeks?
Next week, yes.
Next week, okay. I'm trying to be there.
Awesome, thank you very much. I can't wait, Frantic, and thank you very much today in the commentary box as well. I do appreciate it. It was awesome.
My pleasure.
And we move on to Sir Max and Sir Maxon. Well, I would say that was a simply lovely drive. It did have a sprinkle of drama in there for you in the middle. What happened? We didn't quite actually see what went on when you dropped down the pack.
So after the safety car on the hard, I was just struggling everywhere, and it happened that I lost the car on the curb. But I would say, I don't know, I think I almost crashed like 6 times today, or maybe 7.
We may have seen a couple of those. Yeah, was it like an aggressive setup change, or were you on exactly the same setup as yesterday?
And it was the same setup. I don't know what was going on. Just maybe using the tires too much, or overheating them, or something, and then just not getting them cooled down.
Fair enough. Maybe.
And also maybe not fully focusing on the race.
Yeah.
I was also watching the stream on the other monitor, so.
Oh, I see. Yeah, fair enough. Frantic was distracting you there a little bit too much. I guess that's what happens. But a really, really good effort. Just obviously add. Just to add, you've taken 2 victories in Hungary now in the F1.5 tier. We go to Qatar next. Do you think you can do well there? A twisty, turny circuit with lots of downforce.
It's not really a circuit I like. As I said yesterday, everything might happen there. I don't know my pace on basically any circuit until I start practicing, so.
Fair enough.
Could be good, could be bad. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, thank you very much. Really well done today. Double victory this weekend, and we'll see you in Qatar. And we move on to Jericho Willis. I think we can get an interview from Jericho. Lovely stuff. All right, Jericho, that was pretty good results-wise in the end. It's a shame to see that battle end the way it did. Before that final safety car, how do you think the strategy was going to go?
Yeah, well, I mean, before the safety car, I thought I was in a great spot because I didn't have to pit, and both of the guys that I was with both had to pit, so they would have had to make up a full pit stop on the medium tires, which would have been a big ask. So I thought I was in pretty good shape there. So I was pretty disappointed when the safety car came out, because I knew on tires that were exactly the same that it was going to be very challenging to battle with either one of those guys. Samaxon was, of course, extremely quick. We saw that yesterday. And Wirth was very quick as well. He had really good qualifying pace, really good pace in the race. I think I was just able to get a tire advantage in both stints. The first stint, of course, he started on the hards, and so right from the beginning, I thought, well, I should try to get in front of him right at the beginning if I have an opportunity, and an opportunity arrived. So I went for that. And then when the safety car came out, that was the reason why I didn't want to start on the hards. I had talked to Heischler yesterday about starting on the hards and had thought about it, but I said, an early safety car likelihood is high. So I don't want to be on the tire that can't get me to the end if that happens. So yeah, I went onto that, and then I had a good tire offset to Verth, so that helped me stay with him. And then as his tires got older and older, it just made the job a little bit easier. And then during the last stint, I really just focused on taking care of the tires. I knew it was going to come down to the last 2 or 3 laps. If I had a little bit extra rubber, it was going to help a lot. But Verth was so good out of the last corner. He just kind of pulled every time. So it was really difficult to set up a good run. But I think I was able to manage a little bit of a tire offset and got that. And I think, all those launches for him out of the last corner were starting to overheat his rears a little bit, because I think he ended up locking the rears going into the second corner, and that's what turned him around. I'm pretty sure. I just looked at the replay there because I thought I gave him lots of room, and I hate to see somebody go around when you're racing with them. You're always like, oh, did I give them enough room?
Yep.
And I think I did. I'll look at it again more closely, but I think I did. I think his rears were just getting hot, and he probably locked them. And coming in on an inside line too, you're taking the racing line for all race long for the most part through there, and then all of a sudden you've got to try to adjust your racing line on aging tires. So that's very difficult. So, but it was a lot of fun racing with him. He did a great job today, and happy to get the win. Did not expect that here. This is a difficult track for me. It's really technical. It's really hard to keep focused. So I was very surprised that that happened. So I think I was just fortunate, given everything that happened. I was just fortunate in the end to be in that position.
Very well said. Yeah, and you seem to get it right in the last few moments. I don't believe, at least from me not checking the replay, there was like an incident in the end. I think it was just a bit of a difficult scenario for Verth, and it didn't quite work out. You now make that championship gap 37 points, I believe, to Terence, who is now 2 points ahead of Verth. That is looking pretty good. We go to Qatar next. Do you like that circuit?
Yeah, it's a new circuit for me. I had never, we never did a league race there last season, and I've never raced it other than just kind of a couple of lobbies. And other than that, I haven't raced it. But from what I've seen so far, I like it. It's going to be another one of those where you have to really, I think, underdrive the car a little bit just to make sure you're not picking up penalties, because I think it's going to be really easy to get penalties. So that's going to be the challenge, is not trying to push too hard. And so that might suit me well. We'll see. We'll see.
We will see. But considering you say that you haven't driven in Qatar much, you were pretty quick when I've raced you around there, so I guess it's looking good. I want to quickly ask, before we go, sorry for butting in there, but how is your new setup going? And do you think you can find a little bit more performance throughout this season to go even further?
Well, it's been very challenging, and with the extra force feedback, it's a big difference. And while I know most guys have done some changes over the years, but this is a big one for me. So it's been a challenge, and it was frustrating yesterday and today trying to get up to speed. I was away all week, and so I had to get up to speed quickly yesterday and today, and it's more tiring with the extra force feedback. So long story short, I think as time goes on, I should get a better feel for the car, and hopefully be able to add a little bit of or to take off a little bit of time here and there. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that can happen. Actually, just before the race, I was figuring out what buttons I needed to push for the pit stops. I hadn't quite had that figured out yet. I got a little cheat sheet sitting next to me going, yeah, press this button for that button. Because I've had, in other practice races, I've had some issues trying to get the right buttons on the new setup. So
brilliant.
But, yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait for the next one. And yeah, considering your first race with the new setup was Hungary, you've done an incredibly good job, because that is not an easy circuit to do on a new wheel with more force, making it very tiring. Just got to be thankful that it wasn't wet, and it's probably not going to be wet in Qatar. Thank you very much, Jericho. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Terence. Terence, that was pretty unfortunate. I'm sure you're going to be pretty annoyed at the safety car there, taking your chances of the very good strategy. It looked like you're doing some tyre saving there, but yeah, it's a difficult one. All onto the mediums later on, and I know what you're going to say. It's difficult because there's not too many people on the grid, but you still got that podium. You were still there to get the podium, and you continue this podium streak. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. Actually, yeah, I'm thinking while the first safety car came up, because there's actually 3 people pit on hard, not pit on hard, start on hard, and they will go on mediums. But you know, the safety car come out in lap 3, so they can't really pit on mediums and go to the end. So actually, I with my race engineers just thought, oh, if that's around shit to me, will I go to pit on mediums and go back to hard again? There's maybe a possibility on this strategy, but I don't know, because I'm on mediums, so I just go on hard, because the hard need to last for 32 laps, I believe. 30 laps or 33, I forgot. So yeah, I think it will be pretty tough for me and also Jack. So what my strategy is, just, yeah, you notice that I just try to save my tire, and I think it's pretty good, because on around lap 20, maybe because they're fighting as well, but actually I'm slowly getting closer.
Yeah. Do you think if it stayed as it was and the safety car didn't come out, you would have been promoted to P2, and then would that tyre saving that you did earlier on allow you to then fight for the victory in the final laps?
Yeah, I think so. I do think so. Because actually I found that if my setup, I can push 3 laps consecutively, and that 3 laps actually is faster than Jericho, around 4/10 a lap. But after those 3 laps, my rear left would get overheated. So, so yeah, I just try to maintain the 2.5 second gap to Semason after his spin. Yeah, what I want to say is, after the first safety car, I want to say, if I get the P2 or maybe P1, I want to say, yeah, I love the safety again, because I earn the benefit from it.
Yeah.
But no, I hate safety car.
Yeah, it cancelled out. Well, yeah, it's a shame. It was looking good, and then it just completely screwed you over. Really unlucky there once again with the safety car, Terence, but you gave it a good shot. Qatar, it's another downforce circuit. Do you like that circuit? Do you have much experience around Qatar?
Not much experience, but maybe I have to figure the new setup, because I think my Qatar setup is quite an old one, maybe made in last year July, pretty old. And also, yeah, I found a new format or what is it called, theory, to set my setup.
Yeah.
Which gave me around 5/10 to a second faster qualify, and maybe 0.2 or 3 faster in race.
Nice.
So yeah, I think if I can find the optimal setup, I would do quite a good job there, because I can make my tire longer, but still maintain a pretty good pace. So I think that's my strength in Qatar, because there's loads of mediums and high speed corners.
Awesome. I can't wait, and I hope the setup goes well for you there, and I hope you can get a good result. I hope the safety car doesn't go not in your favour next time. Thank you very much, Terence. It's been a good one, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, Aaron.
And we move on to the end of the stream. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next weekend for the Qatar Grand Prix for both championships, the LSI F1 and F1.5 EU Championship. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.